kind of freewheel anyway.
We do. That's true. But I want to know about this coup that's going. There's a coup going on. You say there's a coup?
Yeah, you didn't hear about Texas?
No. Are they seceding?
No, we could only hope. But anyway, no.
Are they forming a militia?
No, they've got plenty of those already. They got all those special regulated militias, right?
Oh,
well-regulated militias, right?
Well-regulated, yeah.
Well-regulated. That's what everybody says.
Yeah,
well, the Attorney General filed that thing against the four states. They didn't agree with the results, saying that they were doing something unconstitutional. And then 20 more states jumped in, and 150 or 200 lawmakers, and some of the people that were actually elected from those states on the same election are saying the election was no good. Don't understand that one. I don't know. It sounded like a little grandstanding to me. And then your buddy, of course, he's leading the charge and talking to Trump, and got Trump involved too, so he's backing it, and he's going to represent him on the Supreme Court. And oh man, it's good entertainment, I'll tell you.
Well, right. Well, that's politics for you. So the way I understand that case is I don't think it's a strong case. It's not fair case, type of.
It's gone already.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't. I wouldn't expect the Supreme Court to really give it much time of day. Again, it's. I wouldn't completely disagree that it's political grandstanding, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect anything less from the other side. I mean, this is basically what Gore did in 2000. Same type of thing. And I think his supporters expected that, and to some degree, I think his supporters were owed that in 2000. To say, okay, let's run this down to the bitter end, and if it works out in our favor, great. If it doesn't, okay. At least we can say to our supporters, we ran it down to the bitter end according to the Constitution and the law, and that's it. So, I don't think there's any. I mean, from my eyes, again, if there was if Texas was putting together a formal militia to go in and take over the federal government, and then I'd be like, oh, now there's a coup going on here. There's really something happening here, but I just think it's Republicans saying to their supporters, hey, we're going to run this down to the bitter end. Those of you that want to see it, and we're going to show you what we can show you. And if there's nothing to show you, then hey, the courts are going to tell you there's nothing to see here. And
that's what they did. And I look at it a little different way. I look at it as a minority still trying to exert their power they've lost, still trying to, punch below the waist, so to speak, and see what kind of thing they can. Because how many court cases got thrown out in all those states? 30-some court cases that Trump lost. So I mean, and then this thing comes up between the states, and then you know what? If the Supreme Court would have actually listened to it, can you imagine if all the states got to suing each other over all kinds of other stuff? I mean, what if California decided, they don't like the pollution regulations in Texas compared to California, and they want because of the Constitution, they anyway come up with all kinds of constitutional.
No, it was, and I think I'm curious to see how Senator Cruz will respond to it after the dust settles. I think he'll agree that it was pretty shaky ground to stand on, but they called on him to stand on it. Yep. They said, hey, do you want to represent us? And I think Senator Cruz said, sure. I think it's a good publicity, good opportunity for me to be in the spotlight. I'm a politician. I want to be in the spotlight, et cetera, et cetera. And there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Well, every defendant, every person that's prosecuting or defending deserves a lawyer. I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, if it's a child molester or a mass serial killer,
right?
It's the lawyer's job to try to get them off. And no matter how frivolous the case is, there's got to be some crazy lawyer that's going to go ahead and argue the case.
Well,
and some kind of popularity or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and your headline lawyers who do those kind of pro bono, Yeah, I mentioned Dershowitz to you. I mean, that's how he made his bones. He defended guys like OJ. You know,
Right.
and he he defended guys like that. He defended what's his name that that hung himself with the guy with the sex island. Oh, what's his name? I can't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he defended him.
Yeah.
So and I've heard him in subsequent interviews admitting that maybe that was probably a bridge too far. He probably shouldn't have crossed that bridge. But that's if you're going to be a defense attorney, or if you're going to make a name for yourself as an attorney or a politician or whatever the case may be, that's the kind of thing you do. So I don't necessarily. Yeah, Epstein. That's right.
Epstein,
yeah, Epstein. Dershowitz. Yeah, Dershowitz was involved with that.
Sure.
So he's been involved in some pretty shady stuff. But he defended Trump during the impeachment.
That's right.
Not sure how great of a job he did, but he did it. So and that's the thing is I think to put the best construction on probably where Senator Cruz's position was is they called on him as a prominent lawyer, somebody who'd litigated before the court for many years, knew what he was doing. He was on the Bush v. Gore team, et cetera, et cetera. He was the perfect candidate.
Sure.
So they said, sure, yeah, why not? I mean, why would I say no? I think it would have been definitely politically detrimental to him had he said, no, I'm not going to be involved with this.
Well, yeah, because he would have been tweeted and everything else.
Oh yeah. No, he would have been.
But he's been through that before and he survived.
No, that's true. But at the same time, I think this is something he was willing to say. Okay, this is something even though it's a very uphill, steep battle, and it's most likely not going to happen. It's something I can jump on board with without I think if anybody's proven that they're a political maverick, it's probably Bernie Sanders and Senator Cruz. They're willing to Cruz stood right. I don't know when it was, several years ago, stood there on the Senate floor and called Mitch McConnell a liar. On the Senate floor.
That's when it was really bad to call somebody a liar on the Senate floor. Now you can do it anytime you want. You can even call presidents liars. You can do anything. You can call anybody anything you want now, right?
Right. Now it's pretty uncordial. Yeah, and yeah.
But the difference between the two, you use the two there. You got Sanders and Cruz. The difference between the two is Sanders is always stuck to the same script. He's always there to do the same thing. In fact, he sounds like a broken record a lot of times. I hate to say it, but I do agree with what he wants to do. Where Cruz, let's see, we had Lion Ted, now we got Friendly Ted. What Ted's going to show up in 2024 to run against Trump for the primary?
Well, I'm not so sure I agree with your assessment on that. I think, I don't see a lot of inconsistency in Cruz. I mean, you'd have to show me where, okay, he was this way one time and this way another. He's flip-flopped on this issue or that issue. I don't see where he's been pretty consistent.
No, he was definitely against Trump whenever Trump was picking on his wife.
Well, of course, he was running against him. He was running against him for the nomination. And of course he was against him.
Okay. But now he's his buddy.
Right, of course. But the thing of it is, here's the thing is, I again, I'm a Senator Cruz guy. I was sorely disappointed when Cruz dropped. My home state of Indiana broke my heart. When they didn't nominate Cruz, they nominated Trump, and then Cruz drops out. Was Cruz butthurt? Yeah, I would have been a little butthurt myself if my opponent would accuse my dad of being involved in this Kennedy assassination. I would have been a little bit like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to sit this one out for a while. And then once he gets in office and, so on and so forth. But what I think that shows Senator Cruz's principles, because the way Trump governed was in agreement with Senator Cruz's positions on many things. So Cruz became a quick ally of Trump, and Trump was wise to win him over, because if there's anybody in that Congress you don't want to make an enemy of on the Republican side, it's probably Senator Cruz, because he can chew you up and spit you out pretty quick. So I thought, so the way Trump governed, I thought it was wise for Trump to reach out to Cruz and for Cruz to respond in kind. I think that showed maturity, political maturity, to say, hey, We had our disagreements, we had our problems. I mean, he even writes about this in his book. You know, he makes no bones about he had a real problem with President elect Trump. You know, well, even nominee Trump. You know, he was having real issues about it. And then once he started to govern and stuff started to happen, he had his mind changed. So, I don't know. I just don't. I see Cruz being fairly consistent on that.
I don't know. I just think he's a politician. He just goes back and forth from one lie to another, and we never really know where he's coming from, as long as it's good for him and good for his constituents. He does stick up for his constituents. I got to say that. But other than that, I think he's pretty spineless.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I completely disagree with that. I think comparatively to any other, there's just not a lot of senators you can bring up that have shown the kind of fortitude.
Well, you were trying to compare him to Bernie Sanders, and he doesn't compare to Bernie Sanders.
No, I think he does. I think they're doppelgangers, 100%. Because Bernie doesn't play the party line, and neither does Senator Cruz.
Yeah. Bernie doesn't have to. He's an independent. He can vote any way he wants to. He's one of the
100%. But okay, all right. But for all intents and purposes, he caucuses with the Democrats 100% of the time. But he's not afraid to buck the party line when necessary.
That's right.
And I think Senator Cruz is the same way. If he sees something wrong, sees something that's wrong going on in the Republican Party, he's going to call it out. He's going to call BS on it. The one thing I will say about the Democratic side of the aisle is they are very unified in their messaging. It's almost like a memo goes out. This is the messaging for this.
Exactly what happens. The memo does go out.
Yeah,
that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Even when I was a leader in a big corporation, I mean, if I needed people to be in a certain way or be able to present themselves in a certain way with a client or with others in a different department or whatever, I had no problem telling people what I thought. I would send an email out to the entire group and say, this is what's going on. And I'm sure that's what Pelosi does, right? Pelosi and Schumer. They'd be an idiot not to, right? At least you got to know what the talking points are.
Well, you got to know what the talking points are, but you're not. But the thing of it is that the Democratic Party doesn't tolerate any dissent. If there was somebody say, okay, hang on a second. So Tulsi Gabbard comes up and says, wait, so you send out all these talking points, and I'm not really sure I'm down with the struggle here.
Yeah, maybe they don't do it on Twitter. That's probably it. They probably do it behind yeah. They probably actually
they do it behind
the scenes. Somebody.
Well, I will say that the Democrats are very unified. They don't break party lines. I mean, you'll never. I mean, very good example of that is the Supreme Court. You'll never see a leftist on the Supreme Court, break ranks, but you see it all the time with the conservatives. Conservatives break ranks all the time.
They're usually wrong whenever they have to break ranks. Come on.
No, well,
they actually have to look at the case and they have to look at it whether it's constitutional or not. And the reason they have to break ranks from the Republican Party, because they're really not associated with their party, even though they're conservative and liberal, they give them tags, but really they have to do the real job. And you know what? Even Amy Coney Barrett, the new Republican conservative judge, kicked the whole Trump thing or the Texas thing right off the docket last night. So
yeah, well, and
because it's worthless, and so they have to uphold. That's why I wasn't too concerned about.
However,
I wouldn't have picked her, but I was not really concerned about her going in there because if she doesn't do something, if she doesn't do her job correctly, she can be called out on it, and even she can be impeached. We talked about that one time about judges being impeached.
Right.
No, it never really happened, but I mean, I think it has happened once or twice, way back when. But
yeah, I can't remember.
What I'm saying is that they still have to uphold the law. They have to. They're not there to write the laws. They're there to interpret it. They're there to understand what the Constitution meant, how it works in particular situations. And maybe make suggestions in how it could be changed to make it clearer. I'm not going to say to change the Constitution, but to make it clearer so people do understand what's going on. So. Anyway, that's
Right.
fine.
Well, I would be interested. I would be interested to see if it was Biden bringing the case with several leftist states, how the leftists on the court would have voted. I think they would have voted to bring the case.
Do you think so?
It would have been defeated. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would ever hit. I think it would have been treated the same way. Because I don't think if they would have brought it, I think it would have been treated the exact same way, because Texas never really even brought a case for them to look at. They brought an idea, but they didn't really. And it's like all the other 30 cases that Trump lost. He never took any evidence. Yeah. He lied through his teeth on Twitter and all these other things about he had evidence here and evidence there. But when it actually went to court, he never had any evidence. All these affidavits that people sign, all these sworn witnesses and all that kind of stuff, that happened in some kangaroo or mock court that was set up by Rudy Giuliani. It wasn't even in a courtroom with judges. It was actually just a hearing, right? Or like they said it was a hearing, but it wasn't I want to say sanctioned hearing that was sanctioned by a state or sanctioned by a municipality or something. It wasn't an actual courtroom. All it was somebody went to the Holiday Inn, they rented a room, threw out some tables, they brought a couple of people to parade through, tell their story, and try to get the cameras to follow them to make it look good so they could take it to a real courtroom. But it didn't happen. It was all lies. It was all theater. That whole Giuliani thing was complete theater. So, oh my God.
Yeah,
you look like your mind
No, I mean Well, let me just put it this way: it kind of sucks when an election seems to be clearly established and the other side doesn't want to accept it and spends all kinds of time and millions of dollars litigating lies to negate a legitimate election. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is. It's ridiculous.
So stupid.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's been going on the last 4 years.
No,
with Trump, Russia, etc. Yeah, that's exactly what's been going on, Jeff. And
you know when it came down to the end, Mueller said,
"You guys just got a little. You got a little taste. You got a little taste of what it's been like for a Republican administration for the past 4 years. Investigation after investigation, and false impeachment after, etc.
Uh-huh. So how many people actually went to prison from the Mueller investigation?
Nobody so far.
Oh yeah, there has been a whole bunch of Trump's buddies went to prison.
Who?
Oh man, you're gonna make me look it up. But
okay, so yeah, and
one guy even lost a couple of big houses in New York. He had so many fines and
you're citing somebody like General Flynn, who was clearly entrapped in that
Flynn,
situation.
I believe he was entrapped. I'll go along with that. But all the other ones that
and I'm telling you that today you and I have committed crimes that the FBI could put us in jail for, no question about it. They could find something on us.
I don't know about that.
And what was Trump? Were there actors around Trump that weren't squeaky clean? Yeah, but did they get put in jail for colluding with the Russians to fix the 2016 election? Do you think the 2016 election was fixed by the Russians?
I don't think it was fixed.
Okay.
I think there was actors out there that were buying time on social media and that were trying, not fixing the election. They didn't go in the voter boxes. They didn't go and change votes or anything like that. But I do believe that there were outside entities outside the United States that had bots that were out there hitting Twitter.
What have the Democrats been doing for the past 4 years? What meaningful anything have they put forth other than get rid of Trump?
I don't know. Maybe go look at Mitch McConnell's desk and maybe you'll find a little bit. They've been putting together all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, well, it seems like they've been spending the last 4 years trying to overturn an election. They've had a lot more time to do that.
There's no overturning the election. You knew that. I mean, first of all, it was an accidental election anyway. It was completely accidental. Accidental? Okay. Are you kidding me? I mean, the Republicans had no idea when he was, first of all, I don't think he really wanted to win. I think he was only just setting himself up for more notoriety so he could start his next big thing, whatever that is, or apprentice, whatever he was doing. So he was running for president. It's kind of like the Eastern European guy that was a comedian that ran for president because he actually did a shtick on TV about being the president and all the weird stuff. And then the people went back, and because they liked him on TV, they voted him in and made him president of the country. It's happened.
Well, no, there's something.
We kind of had the same thing happen in America.
Well, there's a couple things there.
Republican Party. Hang on, one more second. We talked about this after our meeting last Sunday. I think the Republican Party, whenever Trump came out there for all the debates and he started getting that following, because he wasn't a Republican before, he was actually a Democrat, and then he changed over to Republican. And then he comes out, I don't even know if we knew who he was, but he was there for Trump. And it was really obvious. He played the businessman thing, played into all the cards that everybody was looking for, and he got that following during the primaries. And the people started peeling off one after another. You know, even Carly, she left. Remember Carly Fier? Never mind. Anyway, they all kept peeling off a little bit at a time, and Trump kept insulting people and being as nasty as could be, and that's what drove his base together, because Trump base people love to see Trump hate on the people they hate. That's just one of the base things. You can tell when you talk to a Trumper what they like, what they don't like, and how they feel about those things. And the GOP really let it get out of hand. And then when Trump finally wins the primary and becomes the candidate, I'm sure they were scrambling, going, "What the heck are we going to do now?" And then he wins the presidency. I don't think he planned on winning. He's even said that several times. He knew Hillary was already going to win, and they didn't even think he was going to win. And then all of a sudden he comes out and he wins because the Republicans actually got out the vote, and they went out and voted for him because they voted for him in the primary. Everybody was surprised. I was totally surprised he won.
I was definitely surprised. There's no question about that. But the thing of it is that I remain convinced to this day the reason Trump got elected in 2016 was because Hillary was so horrible.
Well, that too. He had something good going for him. Is she was just so horrible.
And
I didn't want to vote for Trump, but when I had to vote for Hillary, I as soon as I was checking that little box, I had a little throw up come in my mouth because it felt so bad. I'm serious. It was like, I can't believe it.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing that might make you sick. Had you guys nominated Bernie, he would have won.
I know.
He would have won.
I know. That was rigged.
But the Dem establishment was too cowardly to make that move.
Yep. They were way too cowardly, and they kept putting him backwards. He kept pushing him backwards in all the primaries and everything to make sure that he wouldn't get out there. They even left him out of advertisements, all kinds of things just to keep him negated, right?
Yeah, and then after the I don't know, I can't remember exactly when it was, North Carolina, all the Democrat, other Democrat candidates came out in support for Biden.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I was like, the Bernie Bros are not gonna like this. But see, that's the thing. It's not that way with the Republicans.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
No, we put up whoever we damn well please.
That's right. And you did. You put him up. And there you got him. And now look what he's done for us. Oh my God.
Well, I've been very happy with what he's done. And the good news is, after we have a split government, because you're going to lose both those Senate seats in Georgia, I promise you.
Nope.
Yep. 100%.
I was watching a Longshoreman interview with a Longshoreman this weekend, and I was just like, "There's no way."
I don't care what you say. Both those Senate seats are going Republican, and you're going to have a sustained Republican policy through the next 4 years. The Biden administration.
Those two Republican candidates are horrible. Absolutely. Perdue wouldn't even come out and debate. He wouldn't even come out and see his constituents. He's sitting out on his own private island with his yacht and doesn't even talk to his own people.
He's not worth that guy's not worth the debate. But that's what I'm telling you. That's how bad it's going to be. They're going to sweep that election easily. Mm-hmm. It's going to be it's not even going to be a contest. It's not even going to be a contest. I know Republicans are worried about it, but I'm not. It's going to be a split government. You're going to continue to see Republican policy sustained. definitely through the next 2 years, and then after we take the House again in 2022,
Right.
and we probably gain another 2 Senate seats. We have a 54, 55 seat majority in the Senate, and we have a majority in the House again.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll see in 2024 what goes on. I don't know what Trump's going to do. I think his day is done. Personally, I think he did what he needed to do. You're going to see Republican policy sustained throughout this next 4 years. You're not going to be Biden's going to be able to do nibble on the edges here and there, but you're not going to see anything major get done.
Mm-hmm.
That's my prediction.
I'm really hoping that if we don't get those 2 Senate seats, okay, like you said, yeah. I'm just humoring you right now, okay. If we don't get those 2 Senate seats, we talked about this before. I'm hoping that Biden talks to McConnell. That's the first thing. And did you watch his interview with him and Harris on their first interview after the election? And they asked him point blank, "Have you talked to Senator McConnell?" And you could tell in his face he wouldn't answer the question. He diverted, but you can tell in his face he got caught off guard with it for a moment, and he has talked to McConnell. So I got a feeling that they're already talking, just as he's talking to several of the other senators that he already knows. He's been there, done that.
Well, and here's the thing, and here's where I'll agree with you, Jeff. I think there's some gridlock in Washington that shouldn't be there, just because everybody's so pissed off at each other that they just can't get. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the days of Reagan and the days of Clinton are those are long distant memories. And it'd be nice for just a little bit of that to come back, just a little bit.
Well, a little bit of Clinton and a little bit of Obama back. So we're hoping Obama is going to save us from the last Republican.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
I did say that the last Republican.
Well, I think Obama. I think the Dems made a strategic error when they elected Obama. That they really shifted their coalition from working class blue collar constituency. Obviously they still have a little bit of that, but I think that is severely waning, and I think Obama severely damaged that constituency.
I think so too.
I think
Biden's bringing some of that back.
Hopefully so. Where okay, let's, because again, you listen to a guy like Senator Cruz, he's very concerned about small business. He's very concerned about workers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. President Biden, if this is what you really care about, let's talk. Let's talk about some stuff that's going to benefit blue collar workers. That's going to benefit the middle class, et cetera, et cetera, in a real sense.
You take my senator here, Sherrod Brown. He is all about small business, all about the workers. That is all he's about. You never hear him talking about any of the other BS politics that are going on. It's all about the workers and all about that. I wrote him a couple of letters about some things going on here, and I actually got emails, and I actually got emails back. I don't know if he wrote them or some of his constituents wrote them or whatever, but somebody in his organization actually answered the emails and answered them to my satisfaction. So I was quite impressed.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah. So I think there's some things that are facing some gridlock in Washington that shouldn't be facing gridlock.
Like
fix the damn roads, for pity's sake.
Fix the roads, healthcare, and the interstate system is falling apart.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. So I just faced my latest healthcare crisis, which I can it's a complete mess. The first thing out of the chute that I wasn't out of the hospital 2 days, and I got a letter saying, you can pay $25,000, you can pay $12,000 right now. And I'm like, what the hell's that?
Right. Let's make a deal.
Yeah.
It's like,
they're
already bargaining with you.
Right. I'm not. So what? What's the deal here? Why is this the way it is? It's a screwed up deal.
Yep.
And so, I don't have the expertise or anything else to say what ought to be done. I'm again, the last time the government made a big move to try to fix this, I got priced out of the market.
I don't
Now
believe
I'm
that.
looking at, yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well,
Now,
I know, but
yeah, now
and I thought I was priced out too until this year. So I've got to make my decision in the next 3 days about the healthcare.gov and the new Biden care or whatever is going to happen anyway. But Obamacare.
right.
But I'm going to go ahead and sign
Well,
up this year.
yes. Well, yeah. That's the thing is, you know, that's what was funny is, so the whole bill for this little mishap, you know, that any insurance I could have signed up for, the deductible wouldn't have covered it. I would have still been in the hole,
So
whatever
before
amount
they
of
only
money.
had like 3 or 4 choices for you.
Yeah.
When I got on there, there's just so much choice. It's like 30 or 40 choices in Ohio now for different healthcare, and it could be high deductibles, it could be co-pays, it can be. I mean, you can get the gold treatment, where it's real expensive. Nothing comes out of pocket, and you just pay that much per year, and all your healthcare is taken care of. You get the 80-20 split thing. I mean, and I just have to do the numbers for where our personal situation is. But I'm going to sign up this year and see how it rolls because I've gone 3 years now without health care, and I've been lucky. I haven't had any big things happen. But hey, I'm gonna, I don't
you never
quite.
can tell.
Yeah, I can
Don't,
sign
don't
up for Social Security, but I'm not old enough to get Medicare yet, so I got a couple of years to go. So we'll see how that rolls.
right. You got a bunch of stairs in that house. Don't slip going down any stairs.
Oh man, I got 4 stories here.
So yeah, so at any rate, it's well, and that's the thing is, that's what I really wish they would do is just say, okay, cut the crap, people.
Yeah.
Let's offer people health insurance. So if Garnett is a clumsy fool and slips down the stairs, it's not going to set him back, 2 months pay.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, hey, I can pay, just like car insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pay car insurance. If I happen to have the occasional accident, which I haven't had a car accident since I was a teenager. Hey, here's a low risk guy who's putting in $100-200 a month,
Right.
and let's cover him in case he does something dumb like slips down the stairs and falls on his butt and breaks his back. That's something that people can profit off of. They can make a bunch of money off of me.
Yeah.
But that's not legal. It's not legal to offer that
the
kind
weird
of
thing is that why can't we take like the healthcare system in Canada? I used to live in Canada, so I know that healthcare system. Even I had surgery even where I was in the hospital for a week there, so I understand the system. Or Taiwan, where I lived, and I understand the system where I had procedures done there. So I had a kidney stone thing, ultrasonics, and they knocked it out. So it was in and out. I didn't have to stay in a hospital or anything, but a couple of emergency room visits. And so I understand how that works. Why can't we take a system like that has a proven track record of 20, 30, 40 years? So you got 20, 30, 40 years of data, so you know what the costs have been and how to extrapolate that data across and just you take Canada's 40,000 people, or let's just say they're 35,000. We just make it 10 times Canada, and we scale it up. And now we've got a U.S. system, and it works as good. Not going to say it's perfect. Right. It works as good as Canada, okay, or as good as Taiwan, or as good as England,
right? And again, I would be perfectly content to pay for. Jen and the kids and I, we pay out of pocket for all of our normal doctor visits. That's not a problem. It's inconvenient, of course. Would I like to be able to walk into the doctor's office and say, "Oh, no problem, we don't have to pay anything"? Great, that'd be wonderful. Right. But it's not that big a deal. We pay $100 for one of the kids, or me, or Jen, or whatever, to go see the doctor, for them to tell this is what you need. Go down to the pharmacy, pay $50 for your medication. Okay, this is stuff we can afford. This is the stuff that's going to make. Yeah. This is stuff. This is going to bankrupt us. All right, that's not a problem. Mm-hmm. What I would like to buy, what I would like to see happen. Again, I explained this. I think in another time we talked is, Let's bracket off the pre-existing condition, folks.
It's just a crazy idea what you got. But anyway, go ahead. Bracket them off.
But the thing of it is that I can't buy insurance. I can't buy insurance. I have to buy health care. I don't need health care. I don't need to buy health care. Okay. Mm-hmm. If I had a pre-existing condition, then yes, I need to figure out a way to buy health care. Mm-hmm. Where I can pay in incremental rates where I'm covered, I can go get taken care of for my pre-existing condition. Right. That's a completely different situation. Me, I'm a healthy guy. I don't need that. I don't need to pay for that. What I need is the $200 a month, car insurance type of health care, catastrophic health insurance where if I fall down,
it's available on Obamacare. It's just not $200. It's $1,200 a month. So there you go.
But it shouldn't be that much because what am I covering?
Deductible. But they're not just covering your car; they're covering you. Anyway, let me explain it to you a different way, okay?
But I'm not. No. But the thing of it is, $1,200 a month. Mm-hmm. You're talking over the course of the year. That's somewhere between. I can't do the math.
14,400. Yep. 14,400. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So roughly $15,000 a year that I'm paying for what? Nothing.
Exactly. So let me explain it to you a different way, okay? How the actual. All right. So people in Canada pay a couple of percent more in their income tax than what we do. But the people that work and have health insurance through their work pay much more than a couple of percent for that health insurance. Because a lot of people go, geez, I only pay $200 a month for my health insurance through my work because my employer picks up the other. But you know what? You have to look at your entire compensation package. If you're getting paid $10 an hour and the employer has to pick up another $5 an hour just to give you health insurance, really, you could be earning $15 an hour if you didn't have to buy that health insurance, right? That's your money. Just because they happen to put it in a pool and they go and put the whole company in a pool and they go out and buy insurance that way, try to get the rates down, they're out there trying to negotiate just like you are. They're only going to get so good a rate to bring you the best package to look after their employees. But what I'm saying is that when you're in Canada or if you're in Taiwan or in the UK, you don't have to buy that insurance. Your income taxes may be a little bit higher, but all of that is covered. It doesn't matter if you're 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 80 years old. Everything is still covered because you're in one huge national pool now, which makes all the difference.
Why don't we do that for homeowners insurance, car insurance? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why can't we make health insurance? Why can't we make health insurance just like homeowners insurance and car insurance? And you pick what you want. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I own all my vehicles. Mm-hmm. I have liability only on them. So if one of the it's my choice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Government doesn't have anything to do with what kind of, I have to, the mortgage company requires me to take a certain type of homeowners insurance. Fine. Good. I pay that. Mm-hmm. The house catches on fire. It burns to the ground. A tornado comes through here, blows the house down, whatever. Mm-hmm. That covers, that covers me and the mortgage outfit. Okay,
so wait a second.
For some disaster.
You've got homeowners insurance and you got auto insurance. Why do you have those two? Why do you buy those?
Well, because in case something catastrophic happens.
No. Really, why do you buy them? Why do you buy car insurance? Because why? You're mandated to do so. Otherwise, you can't drive your car, right?
Right. So So
you gotta buy.
So if you want to have a health insurance mandate, then it has to be reasonable. It can't cost me half my salary.
No, I'm not saying it should. I'm just saying we already know that mandates work because we live in them all day long.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Right. So you're mandated to carry catastrophic health insurance. So if you fall down the basement stairs, right, then somebody else isn't going to end up footing the bill for you.
The equivalent of liability insurance, right? Like on your
fair
car.
Enough.
That's fair enough. Right. So let's just say if the government just gave you that liability insurance for your health, and if you wanted to buy something above and beyond, you could. That's what they do in Canada. They give you the equivalent of the liability, and then Blue Cross and Blue Shield exists up there.
Why does the government have to give me that? I can buy that perfectly fine on my own.
No, you can't. Let me ask you, which industry makes tons of money, billions of dollars every year on consumers? Isn't it the insurance industry?
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because they're
because
betting.
they're betting on pretty much a sure thing. Because if I put in my $200 a month, saying, "Hey, I'm going to put in my $200 a month," I'm betting that Jen or me or the children don't get sick or injured in a way that's going to come out of our pocket. You know who's going to win on that? The insurance company.
Always.
However, if something happens, I know I'm covered. No problem.
Always remember that the insurance company is the house.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like
they're going to win. I don't expect them to not make a profit off that. I don't have a problem with that.
But they're making huge profits.
Yeah, so are car insurance companies. So are home insurance companies. I mean, you know, all these insurance companies are and the thing of it is with home insurance, is it mandated by law? Well, in a sense it is, but more than anything, the mortgage company is going to want you to have that house insured, because if that thing burns down and you say, "Oh, house burnt down, I'm not making any more payment."
They demand it. It's part of your contract.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just pay for your house on your own. You don't have to have it.
Right.
So it's up to you. If you don't want a mortgage, that's fine. They don't care.
Right. Right. So why not? Why does the government have to get involved in this?
Okay.
The government's not involved in house insurance. The government's not involved in car insurance, other than to say you're mandated to have these things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's, I mean, I would be down with that. If the government, if Biden came along and said, "Okay, here's Biden Care.
Mm-hmm.
We are mandating that you have this minimal insurance that, you know, costs this much a month, you know, type of thing," then fine. And I don't even think it should be a national thing. I think it should be a state by state thing. I mean,
so let's go further down toward the root of where the problem is. Okay. Have you ever heard of the medical billing industry? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, let's screw this up.
Why do we need that? We're paying for that, right?
Yep.
You and I are paying for that. Why do we need that? You know, the one thing about having a government health insurance is there is no medical billing industry, because everything is done on the same system. And I'll give you an example. Like Taiwan, they pride themselves in having a 2% administration within their system, where we're running between 35 and 40% of just administration. That's nuts.
And what would it be like if the Biden administration came in and started talking to McConnell and said, "Let's let the people buy catastrophic health insurance. Let's make that legal." Why is that illegal?
It's not illegal.
It is.
You go and look.
You cannot buy. I've looked everywhere. You cannot buy a catastrophic health insurance plan. You cannot.
There is catastrophic because it's got huge deductibles, and it's looking for that catastrophic. Like you need like a bypass surgery that's going to cost you $250,000, and you're going to have to pay $20,000 out of pocket.
And that's not what I'm talking about. As far as catastrophic goes, that's, you know, I can assure it is catastrophic. But what I'm talking about is you can't go buy a health insurance plan that says, if I have to make an ER appearance, that's what I want covered. That's what I'm paying for. Right. So
you want to pick and choose your, you know, the idea of you're like a lot of other Americans that they look at it. It's like, I'm going to pay $10,000 out of my pocket. Even though it's to an insurance company, I want $10,000 worth of value back. So if I go to the ER and it costs $15,000, I want them to pay for it. But you got to remember, insurance companies, they know all the numbers. They're the house. They're the ones that are making the bets. You think you're making the bet? You're not. They're making the bet. Okay? They're setting the rates. They're setting the whole plan, and they're never going to lose.
But you cannot. I get that, and I'm down with that. Companies don't go into business to not make money,
right?
Including insurance companies. Okay?
So the insurance companies, as far as I'm concerned, they can dump half of their employees or maybe 80% of their employees, because at the end of the day, I just want a regular, universal health care across the United States. We're going to need those insurance companies to help us out, just like they do with Medicare. Is we need them to help us administer the plan, okay, across the different states and everything else. So they're still going to have some business, but their profits are going to go from a gazillion down to a tenth of a gazillion. And there are people that are in there just doing administrivia where they're moving numbers around or playing games of how can we screw people out of more money. Those people are going to go find new jobs in the real world. That's all there is to it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I think all that and I'm fine with that. I mean, businesses go the way of the dodo. And I think all it would take is for Congress to say, we are out of the healthcare industry, and you can buy.
No, you don't want to buy. You want them to pay for it. You want it to be. If you look at what it costs.
No, I don't want my taxes raised. I don't want this. I mean, why do we have to have the government why do we have to have the third party of the government go through this?
In actuality, your taxes are not going to be raised because you're going to make the savings on the other side. So you want the best of both worlds. You got to give something too, right? I mean, right now you don't have insurance because your employer doesn't provide an adequate plan for you. Okay, I get that. So you decide to go ahead and take it on your own. That's okay. But if the government came in and said 2% of your annual income, let's say you make $100,000, it's going to cost you $2,000 a month, $2,000 a year for that health insurance. You're going to go, not
pass.
You don't want to pay $2,000 a year.
Not to the government. Not to the government.
Not to the government. Nope. Just because it's the government.
Just because
you'd rather pay. Yep. You'd rather pay.
I would rather pay.
To a private company.
I would rather pay a private insurance company. Yep, 100%.
I don't know. I think you're a little pig-headed there, buddy. I think you need to look around.
No, you know what I think? No, it's not. It's not pig-headed. Pig-headed. It doesn't have anything to do with it. I mean, I've got
rolling the dice. You're not pig-headed. You're rolling the dice and hoping in your favor. Last Sunday was a bad roll.
I see how well the government runs things. The government sucks at running stuff. Horrible.
Military's doing good. Medicare's doing good.
The government is good at two things. Generally, and right now they're sucking at one of them because they're trying to do too many other things. The government should be good at running the military. The government should be good at security.
Should be.
The United States is unparalleled in military security. No question about it.
That's what we're told. I don't always believe it, but anyway, that's what we're told.
Well, what country in the world wants to screw with us in a real way? Nobody does.
I don't know. What other country goes out and screws with other people besides us?
Yep.
Yep. So why are we over in North Africa right now? I forget.
Who knows?
It's a national security issue here in the United States.
I don't know I don't know the ins and outs of all that. But the point being, that is one of the probably at this point the singular thing that I trust the United States government with is national security, and even that waxes and wanes.
Yeah, I don't trust them with that. I think that they're playing games.
But who else are you? But the thing of it is, then you go down to the next level. Who are you going to entrust with national security?
No, I believe that we have national security, but I don't believe that they're doing what's right for us as a nation. I don't always agree with what they're doing. Okay.
Okay. No, I don't. I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything. On a foreign policy basis. But what I'm saying is that is one of the roles of the federal government, national security. Right.
Sure.
So I'm willing to pay taxes for that.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm not willing to pay
taxes. I am too, obviously. But wait a second. Willing to pay taxes? No, you're forced to pay. It's a mandate that you pay taxes, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. Just settle that. It's not about willing.
Unless you want to immigrate, unless you want to get the hell out and go somewhere else.
No, that doesn't work because I worked overseas. You always are on the hook for your global income in U.S. taxes.
Well, you can immigrate and renounce your citizenship.
You could renounce your citizenship. That's the only way.
Yeah.
But that costs you money too. It costs about $8,000 to renounce it. It takes about 6 months to get it done. it's a lot of paperwork.
Okay, so the point being, the point being, that is the one thing that I'm willing to pay taxes for. Willing.
Okay.
All right.
Military.
I'm not willing to pay taxes for health insurance. I'd rather do that between
it's
me
just a
and
better
another
deal.
No,
it's a better deal all the way around.
No, I don't think so. Because I think they'll fuck it up. Excuse my language. I think they'll screw it up. But just like they do everything else.
Well, they screwed it up already. What they've got now is
you've already said that they screw up national security.
So,
that
you know what I absolutely love?
We screw up foreign policy all the time, right? The one thing the federal government's supposed to do, the one thing we're willing to pay taxes for, they screw that up all the time. I think you and I could agree on that.
Sure.
And so now I'm going to hand my money over to them when they can't even deliver me a letter on time. I mean, hell,
they farm it out already anyway. Now it doesn't matter, with this. Like I told you with Medicare or with Social Security and Medicaid and all that. Medicaid, they farm it out to insurance companies to go out and manage it anyway. So you've got to go and sign up with your Medicare through an insurance company so they can manage it, and then they get paid from Medicare, so you can get your things paid for your doctor. But let me set up another scenario for you. I'm just kind of curious what you think about this. It's kind of something rolling around in my circles, probably not hitting your circles as much as mine, but it's kind of funny with the Trump supporters that are so upset about Biden taking over and maybe the Georgia people taking over and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to end up with a full Democratic, and everybody's going to have to, we're going to join the Paris Accord again. Biden posted that on his Twitter this morning. We've only got 47 days, and we're going to rejoin, right? We're going to go back to Iran and talk to them. We hope that we can settle something with them. So all those things that Trump did can be undone, or we're going to try to undo a lot of them, right? So all the Trump supporters are going, well, I'm out of this country. So just kind of did this little brief. Let's see. You want to be a loner and do your own health care.
72, 73 million people are out.
No. There's a whole bunch. I'm just saying there's a whole bunch of Biden people or Trump people that are posting they've had enough of this country. They're leaving. They're going to go back. They're going to go someplace else where it's more free. There's all kinds of oppression here. The problem is that if you look at the map of the world, literally look at the map of the world, most countries, any civilized country, any first world country has healthcare, has universal healthcare. So they can't get away from that. And if you want to look at places that allow unfettered gun ownership, there's only 3 or 4 countries that allow that, right? And if you want to look at about the abortion issue, almost every civilized country or every first world country allows abortion in their country. All those issues that we're still fighting about or whatever, there's only really one country that allows all that stuff, and it's the United States at this point. So it's time to get with the rest of the world, move into the 21st century, get rid of the shackles of the 19th century, because a lot of that is really shackles of the 19th century that people have hung all the way through the 20th century with. And just get on with life. Quit making it difficult for everybody.
Yeah. It's a really bad place we live in, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm here today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So.
But the difference is I've lived other places, right? I spent not just vacations, but I actually lived other places, worked other places, worked within societies, worked within other cultures, and I see how other people live. And okay, so we're supposed to be the richest. Really, we're the richest, but we're doing the worst on COVID. We're the richest, but we don't have health care. We're the richest, and we have this huge military that we go, poking everybody's eye out around the world. What's going on with us, really?
Well, yeah, it's a curious situation because it's weird.